Welcome to Awakening Heaven on Earth. Before we begin, take a moment to arrive. There is nothing you need to do, nothing you need to believe, and nowhere you need to go. Simply listen, contemplate, and notice what stirs and resonates within you. This is a shared space of reflection, presence, and remembrance. Now, let us begin. Welcome to this episode focused on Rebuild with Love, Unity in Systems, Sacred Text References. In this episode, we listen to sacred wisdom from traditions across the world, asking how human systems can be transformed by love, justice, compassion, and unity. We will receive each teaching in the spirit of lectio divina, listening deeply, reflecting honestly, and allowing the wisdom to become embodied action. Now let's begin. We begin with Christianity. In the book of Isaiah, chapter 58, verse 6. Is not this the fast that I choose, to loose the bonds of injustice, to undo the straps of the yoke, and to let the oppressed go free? First, receive these words slowly. True spirituality does not turn away from suffering. It loosens what binds, frees what has been oppressed, and transforms devotion into liberation. Now let this teaching become personal. Where is love asking me to help loosen the bonds of injustice? And now, let the heart respond. May my prayer become action, and may my devotion help set others free. We now turn to Judaism. In the book of Micah, chapter 6, verse 8. What does the Lord require of you but to do justice, to love kindness, and to walk humbly with your God? First, receive these words slowly. Justice, kindness, and humility are the foundation stones of holy systems. Justice without kindness can become cold. Kindness without justice can become avoidance. And humility keeps both rooted in love. Now let this teaching become personal. Where am I being called to practice justice with kindness and kindness with courage? And now let the heart respond. May I do justice, love kindness, and walk humbly as I rebuild with love. We now receive wisdom from Islam. In the Quran, chapter 5, verse 8. Be persistently standing firm in justice, witnesses for Allah, even if it be against yourselves or parents and relatives. First, receive these words slowly. Sacred justice is not tribal, and it does not protect comfort at the expense of truth. Love asks us to stand for what is right, even when it challenges our own group, our own benefit, or our own comfort. Now let this teaching become personal. Where might I be called to stand for truth, even when it is difficult? And now let the heart respond. May I stand firm in justice, witness truth with humility, and refuse to be silent before harm. Now we turn to Hinduism. In the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 3, verse 30. Dedicate all actions to the divine, free from desire and selfishness, and with a tranquil mind. First, receive these words slowly. Systems are transformed through action. But sacred action is not rooted in ego, domination, or the need to be praised. Sacred action is offered to the divine in service of the whole. Now let this teaching become personal. What would change if my work within systems became an offering to love? And now let the heart respond. May my actions be clear, my motives be purified, and my work serve unity. We now receive wisdom from Buddhism. In the Dhammapada, verse 256. A person is not just because they speak much, but if they cherish the truth, they are just. First, receive these words slowly. Justice is not performance, and it is not proven by the volume of our words, but by the truthfulness of our lives. Sacred transformation begins with inner alignment. Now let this teaching become personal. Where am I being invited to move from speaking about justice to embodying truth? And now let the heart respond. May I cherish truth, speak with integrity, and become a quiet witness to justice. We now turn to Taoism. In the Tao Te Ching, chapter 17. A leader is best when people barely know they exist. When their work is done, their aim fulfilled, the people say, "We did it ourselves." First, receive these words slowly. This teaching reveals power without domination. The highest leadership does not control. It empowers, creates space, and helps others remember their own dignity and strength. Now let this teaching become personal. Where can I lead with less control and more trust, humility, and service? And now let the heart respond. May I lead without domination, serve without needing praise, and help others remember their power. We return to Christianity. In the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 25, verse 40. Whatever you did for one of the least of these, you did for me. First, receive these words slowly. This teaching places the divine among and within the vulnerable. A system aligned with love is measured not by how it serves the powerful, but by how it protects the hungry, the stranger, the sick, the imprisoned, and the overlooked. Now let this teaching become personal. Who is most affected by the systems I participate in? And what would love ask of me on their behalf? And now, let the heart respond. May I recognize the divine in the vulnerable and allow compassion to become embodied care. We now turn again to Judaism. In the book of Amos, chapter 5, verse 24. Let justice roll down like waters and righteousness like an ever-flowing stream. First, receive these words slowly. Justice is meant to flow not as a rare gift from the powerful, but as a living current that renews the whole. Love reshapes what is hardened. Now let this teaching become personal. Where has justice become blocked, and how might I help the waters flow again? And now let the heart respond. May justice flow through my choices, and may love reshape what has grown hard. We now receive Indigenous wisdom through the sacred teaching of all my relations. First, receive these words slowly. This teaching remembers that life is relationship. Human beings, animals, plants, waters, earth, sky, ancestors, and future generations are all part of the sacred web. Now let this teaching become personal. How would our systems change if they began with the truth that all life is related? And now, let the heart respond. May my choices honor the web of relationship, and may the systems I touch serve future generations. As these teachings come together, one truth becomes clear. Systems are spiritual. Structures reveal consciousness. Policies reveal values. Institutions reveal what a people believe about one another. When separation is the foundation, systems divide. When fear is the foundation, systems control. When scarcity is the foundation, systems exploit. But when love becomes the blueprint, justice begins to flow. Mercy becomes policy. Leadership becomes service. Economies circulate care. Education awakens wonder. And institutions become instruments of unity. So pause gently. Let these sacred teachings ask their questions within you. Where are you being called to see clearly? Where are you being called to stand for justice? Where are you being called to act without ego? Where are you being called to lead through service? Where are you being called to rebuild with love? You do not have to transform every system at once, but you can bring awakened consciousness into the systems you touch. One conversation, one policy, one classroom, one workplace, one act of courage, one choice made from love. This is how systems and structures soften. This is how justice flows. This is how unity becomes visible. And this is how heaven on earth is rebuilt with love. As we come to a close, remember that this journey continues in many expressions. This podcast is part of a family of partner podcasts. Awakening Heaven on Earth. The space between heaven and earth and Living Heaven on Earth are 3 companion podcasts exploring spiritual awakening from complementary perspectives. Awakening Heaven on Earth offers the core teachings and mystical reflections on unity, love, and conscious living. The space between creates room for dialogue, reflection, and lived conversation around those teachings. Living Heaven on Earth focuses on basic spiritual practices that help embody these insights in daily life. Together, they form a unified journey of understanding, experience, and integration, inviting listeners to remember their connection with the divine, with one another, and with the living world. You can find all of them available on the same podcast streaming platforms wherever you listen. And if music helps carry these teachings deeper into the heart, the unity Awakening Heaven on Earth album is available on all major music streaming services as a musical companion to this journey. Wherever you engage through listening, reflection, conversation, or music, may it gently remind you you are not separate. You belong to the one life. And heaven is already unfolding within you. Until next time, walk gently, love deeply, and embody heaven on earth.